Hey guys, this is Mike Mahaffey, the old bastard BJJ guy, here for BJJ Mental Models. Back in my day, we had to walk uphill in the snow both ways to get to the academy just to learn some crappy technique from a random purple belt. You kids have it so easy because now you can just subscribe to BJJ Mental Models Premium and get tons of great audio courses to learn new techniques, enhance your mindset, and entertain yourself. You can even get personalized rolling reviews from some of your favorite BJJ Mental Models coaches, including me. It's like having your own seminar, you spoiled little whippersnappers. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe to BJJ Mental Models Premium right now, get off my lawn, and go train.
Hey, welcome to BJJ Mental Models. I'm Steve Kwan. BJJ Mental Models is your guide to a conceptual and intelligent jiu-jitsu approach, and we're back here again with another one of our mini episodes. Each of these is intended to give you a mental model that you can quickly use to improve your understanding of jiu-jitsu. Last week, we talked about how grips dictate position. I'm going to put a link to that in the show notes, and I would suggest if you haven't listened to that one already, do so before you listen to this one. So presuming you're on board with the idea that grips dictate position, now we have to ask ourselves, what do we do if someone grabs us? So today we're going to talk about countergripping. There are 3 ways that you can counter a grip when you're losing the grip fight. The first way is to actually break the grip. This is where you actually try to break the grip off and strip their fingers. I am not a fan of breaking grips in this manner, and I would prefer to use the other methods that we're going to discuss if I can. And the reason why is because although grip breaking can work, it has some weaknesses. First of all, there are attribute limitations. It is possible that against someone who just has incredible grips, you may struggle to simply break their grip. It may not even be possible for you to do. I have had people grip me before and I just wasn't able to break their grip. So sometimes that can happen. But beyond that, when you break someone's grip, you're devoting your weapons to their grip, and that can give them the opportunity to advance and attack other things. So as an example, if you grab my collar, a lot of common collar breaks involve me using both of my hands to strip your fingers. And I can do that, but the problem is I am now trading both of my arms for one of yours. So while I am trying to break that grip, you can do a lot of other things knowing that my defenses are compromised because 2 of my hands are occupied, whereas only one of yours was. So grip breaking can work, but it often does come with weaknesses as well. And I would be mindful of this if you choose to break a grip. Understand that there's a possibility that your opponent may use that window to attack you while you are occupied. So the second way that you can counter grip is to invert the grip. This is where you do something like swimming your hand on the inside. So if they got an inside grip on your sleeve, you circle your hand to the inside and then you grab their sleeve. That's inverting the grip. You haven't broken the grip, but now you have taken a counter grip that is more powerful than theirs. There's a lot of ways that you can do this in jiu-jitsu, an underhook, getting converted into a whizzer, things like that. There are many situations where a grip can be counter-gripped into something superior. You always want to be looking out for those because they usually don't require you to take yourself out of alignment, whereas a grip break might, and they often work very well against people who are bigger and stronger than you. There is still one downside to inverting the grip, and that is that you have to react to your opponent. They grabbed onto you, and you now have to counter grab. So you're still having to do something. You're still having to anchor your hand or somehow use some of your weapons to counter that grip. Not the end of the world, but the best option is if I can deal with your grip without having to use any of my weapons so that they're free to attack you. And that brings up the third way that you can deal with a grip, and that is by changing the angle. Sometimes a grip is only useful if it's at a certain angle. You'll hear Rob Bernanke talk about this a lot when he talks about force vectors and how if you're using frames against a person, you want to make sure that your frame matches the angle of force. Similarly with grips, sometimes if you grab me and I change the angle, now that grip is no longer useful to you. And that's an important distinction. Not all grips are dominant grips. You don't necessarily need to be concerned about someone gripping you if the grip is not useful. And there are a lot of grips that are not useful. Beginners are notorious for this. They'll just grab onto you because they think some grip is better than no grip, but that's not always the case. If you grab onto me and you're not able to control me with that grip and you're not getting any benefit out of it, you might actually be in a worse situation because you could now be giving me the opportunity to grip you, to turn your arm into a lever. So some grips are not dominant. And the way that you can tell if a grip is dominant or not is, can my opponent actually control me with this grip? Are they getting any benefit out of it? If they're not, it's not a dominant grip. And so a non-dominant grip you can probably ignore, at least for the time being. It might become dominant later depending on what happens. But if a grip is a dominant grip, you can deal with it by changing the angle sometimes. There's a lot of examples of this. So if, for example, we're standing up and you grab onto my collar, a lot of the defenses for that involve turning my torso, kind of like Neo in the Matrix when he's dodging bullets. By changing that angle, I can make that grip useless to you. I haven't broken the grip. I haven't even inverted the grip. But I've changed the angles of our bodies so that that grip no longer has any benefit to you. At this point, it's up to you as to whether you want to keep that grip or not. If you're a smart grappler, you're probably going to let it go. And to me, as a martial artist, that's always what I'm looking for, a way to get results without expending much effort. And so if I can get you to give up a grip rather than having to break it myself, that's more efficient, and I would prefer that option. Additionally, in this case, my hands are still free, I still have my weapons, I've committed nothing to this grip break, so I'm in a better position if I can just change the angle and make your grip useless. So again, you've got 3 ways to counter grip in jiu-jitsu. Method number 1 is to actually break the grip. It works, but it does have risk. It is attribute-based, and it can expose you to counterattacks because you're committing more weapons to the grip than your opponent is. The second option is to invert the grip. That's often where you swim and counter grip. This works, but it still does require you to commit something to the exchange. My favorite option is to change the angle so that my opponent's grip is no longer useful. I have all of my weapons at my disposal. They then have to decide whether they want to hang on to a useless grip or let the grip go. So there you go, 3 ways to counter grip. Hope you found this helpful. If you want more like this, all of the mini episodes, all of our main feed episodes, our newsletter, and our premium services all live at bjjmentalmodels.com. I'll put a link in the show notes to make it easy for you to get there. I really like doing these mini episodes, and I hope you enjoy them as well. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.